Hi everybody. So I want to talk about my queen, my grandmother, Nettie Summers. She took her final bow on April 25th, and the experience that I had, because I was the last person with her. I was in the room with her when she was passing away, and so God is such a poet, and I just feel like it would be such an honor to talk about that experience and just how God just ordains everything and how his timing is just so beautiful. So I moved back. One, my grandma is such a strong, beautiful, powerful woman. She has 6 grandchildren, so she had 3 daughters, and every daughter had 2 daughters. And the one thing I've loved is that every granddaughter had a best friend relationship. Like, she never showed favoritism. We all felt like she was our best friend, and I feel like that's a gift that a lot of people don't get to experience. And I just feel like the strength that she's had a stroke, she's almost got her foot amputated, and she chose to live. And the way it goes back to like my brand and how she was always so supportive. Like, she hated taking photos, but she would always take a photo and let me dress her up in any way I wanted to. I just felt so honored that she believed in me the way she did. And she lives to 100 years old. 100 years old, she was on this earth, and she got to experience so many lives and so many things. But the part I really wanted to talk about is just how ordained it was for me to move back home in 2020. And every time we traveled, she was my roommate. Because, you know, we're both single. We'll have Chloe, we'll have my nephew, but more of the time it would just be me and her. Like, and the conversations that we had, and the times that we spent together, and the outfits. I was like, Grandma, should I wear this? It's just how involved she was in my life in these past 4 years. Like, I'm truly honored that she was my best friend, and that she let me be my full self. She let me like do TikToks with her. Like, she just let me cuss around her. She just really let me live my full self in front of her. And so the day she passed, my nephew was like, are you gonna spend a night? And I was like, I tried to spend a night the first night she went to the hospital, but I didn't have anything. Like, I didn't have my charger or my do-rag or anything. So my parents was like, let's just wait. Let's do it the next day, because my dad was going out of town. So we're at the hospital, and my nephew was like, you should just spend a night. Like, I don't understand, you should just spend a night. And so that was like a little note to me. And then my grandma was like, later on that night, she was like, well, somebody need to be here for the doctor. Now, mind you, my grandma was tired the whole day. Me and my sister and my family have never seen my grandma like in this state, because she's such a fighter. Like, last year, me and her were at home by ourselves, and she was like, you need to call the ambulance. Like, she speaks clear, she's very articulate, she is a strong woman. And this time I felt defeat like on her, where she was like tired, but she was bold enough to be like, somebody need to be here for the doctor. And so I was like, Mom, I'll spend a night, you know what I mean? Like, I was supposed to stay with her that weekend anyway, because they were going out of town. And so I went to my car, I got my sandals, I came back in, I was brushing my teeth, she was sleeping, and I heard the monitor beep, and I was like, Grandma, and she was like, huh? And I was like, are you okay? I'm like, what is that? She's like, I don't know. And one thing I could say, nurses, if you're watching this, please be more aware that you're dealing with people, special ones. Like, the way people can be dismissive or not be attentive is so alarming to me. And so I went and got the nurse, and she was like, oh, somebody forgot to do something. It's an easy fix. So she fixed it. I put my hoodie on, got under the covers in the chair, and like my grandma looked so peaceful, like she was taking a sleep, and I was watching like a show on my phone. And then like 20 minutes later, I hear doom 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 and like wake up, and I just find that so rude to be so just being so abruptive and not letting the family member know what's going on. And so I was like, what's going on? And she was just like, her heart is low. And I'm like, okay, calm down, grandma. And like, she wasn't responding. And I was like, everybody stay calm. And they're like running around. They're like, this is a cold tit. And there are 2 nurses. So I'm like, where's the doctor? You know what I mean? Like, where's the physical doctor? So I go out, I'm like, where's the doctor? And they're like, they're coming, they should be on their way. I'm like, it doesn't seem like like they're coming, you know, if this is a cold tit. So I see them coming, they're jogging. I'm like, are y'all, at this point I'm cussing. I'm like, are y'all fucking calm? Like, are y'all gonna fucking run? They finally get in there, more people start coming in. Do you wanna resuscitate her? Because on the thing, it says, do not resuscitate. And I'm like, yes, resuscitate her. They was like, well, she's 100 years old. I was like, I don't give a fuck if she's 150 years old, resuscitate her. And they was like, well, call your mom. And the other doctor was like, well, we need to make a decision. And they was like, well, she says resuscitate her. So they went ahead to like do that. I called mom and I was just like, hey, I think you should come back, because I didn't want to alarm her. So she was like, I'm coming back. And then I'm like, well, they're asking, do we want to bring her back? And the doctor took the phone away from me, and he was just like, you know, it says don't do it. And she was like, well, I don't know, but my daughter's there. I think she was more concerned about me being there, and she was just like, do it, and if you can't get her back, we'll go from there. So they processed they tried to resuscitate her. They were putting the machine on her. And then the doctor came back out, and he was just like, call your mom again. And he was like, I don't, like, basically saying like, are you sure you want to do this? And then my mom was like, well, I don't want her to live in pain, so if it, like, just stop it. So the doctor was like, okay, everybody stop trying to, you know, bring her back. And then I'm thinking, okay, like, it's over. But they was like, we got a heartbeat, and we're gonna take her to ICU. And I'm like, okay. And when I tell you, like, no nurse escorted me down there, like, it took a guy who was in the room that saw me, like, further down to be like, do you know where you're going? And I was like, no, but thank you, you know, for, you know, caring to know where I was supposed to go. And so I went down there, and I saw her pass by, and I was like, you got this, Grandma, I love you. And my mom and dad came, and the doctor came like simultaneously to my mom, and he was like, her heart is still low, I think y'all should just go back there and be with her. And I just really feel like she waited on her daughter. Like, she waited on her daughter. And we go back in the room, and I was like, Grandma, like, you can, you know, go see your family, you can go see life, like, you did a good job, you did it. And then there was like, she's gone, and me and my mom just started clapping. And I guess, like, my mom didn't hear it, but when somebody passed away, like, it's like these trumpets go off on the machine. And it was just so beautiful to see. One, like, the whole day was ordained, because one, I felt honored that she chose me to, like, have the last, like, sleepover with her, you know, like, because God is such a poet for me to, like, experience that with her. And just to know that she was so peaceful, like she was in a sleep. You know, everybody wants that for their loved ones. And it's the fact that she came back just in time for her daughter to be there when she finally passed away, and for us to clap. We were clapping. We was like, girl, you did that. You lived life. Like, you experienced life. Because life is so beautiful, and death could be so beautiful if it's not a tragic thing. And the simple fact that she wasn't alone, like, I know she, you know, was waiting on making sure somebody was there with her, and it was just so ordained. And my dad was supposed to go out of town the next day, and like she called him right before he left, and it was just like, what I've learned is that like I'm done trying to control the narrative for life, because if you really just let life just take over, it's so beautiful, and you get to experience something that you don't know why you're in this chapter. Like, I didn't know why I was back home. You know, I didn't understand if she saw me get my first house. Like, it's just so many things that, like, now that she's gone, I understand why I was in this chapter of, like, just being with her and, like, spending these 3 years, like, being her roommate and her destination person to, like, show her how to use the iPhone, and just seeing her live life and being a spokesperson for what I try to convey every single day. So like, it was just a beautiful experience, and from the beginning to the end, I feel like God really wrote this beautiful poetic scenario of just like spending the last couple of hours of her life with my best friend, my roommate, and I'm just so honored that she chose me and that God chose me to be with her. And I feel so strong. I feel so, my relationship with death looks so different now, and like I just want to live life not worrying or stressing out or trying to figure out what's next, because it's just like, just to enjoy the now. So yeah, that's all. I just really wanted to talk about how great she was, and just how strong she was, and just how she was fighting to the very end, like even talking to us, like, because when you look back on it, I feel like she was passing that whole day, but she was still trying to communicate and just still stay on her Zoom for her family until she couldn't anymore. And like, to know that she was so peaceful is just like a piece that I will forever cherish. So yeah.